RSL Nation!
Hey!
Hello, everybody.
What to do? What to do? What to do?
Welcome back to the Bros. Here we are, us three again. Alan, Marcos, Christian, just
Smoke,
hanging.
smoke. Welcome to Smoke Lake City. We got the smoky skies today.
Smoke Lake
Ugh.
City.
Uh,
Yeah,
Thanks a lot. Is it California, Idaho? Who wants to claim the smoky skies?
It's Idaho. I'm
Idaho.
sorry. We can't blame California for everything. And this one, Idaho's got to
yep,
own up to it. I hope everybody is safe up there, though. I
Oh,
mean,
that's true.
be
I
that
stepped.
bad.
Yeah, I refed a game today, and I was just like dying, just running up and down the field, not just from running, but just all the
That's just
smoke. I'm
you
like,
being
That,
out of
that, that
shape.
yeah, that's being fat, bro.
probably. I got these 15-year-old girls who are out running me. I'm like, I can't keep up anymore.
Yep, that's being fat. But welcome to old age. You're not yet 30, but shoot, guys. We had Labor Day weekend, and I had too much going on. I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted, and I needed an extra day, and I never had it.
Coming back from vacation is so hard.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine your first
uh,
week back was like, blah.
blah. Oh, the jet lag going from east to west feels way different from west to east. I it's weird, man. And just wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and be like, dunk, you're awake. It's like, oh, great. I'm still getting drowsy at 10 p.m., but I wake up at 4 because my body's like, hey, guess what time it is in London? It's it's
Well,
mid-morning.
that just makes me not want to go to Europe at this time in my life, just because I'm already exhausted with kids. And if
Oh, so
you're,
you like, I was gonna say
Just
and,
leave the kids behind.
no,
I'll
no, no,
say
I mean
you traveled
it's
to
not.
Argentina. That's about the same thing.
Yeah, but that's like three time zones over. It's not a bunch more over 8 hour difference. So,
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, we got some stuff to get into. Like always, we love talking soccer. We love talking RSL. So, um, we started this new thing last week where we have you guys ask us some questions, and you know what? We're kind of liking it. So we did it again this week. So thanks, Marcos, for doing that.
No
Um,
problemo.
and we're gonna get into some of your questions and give our opinions like always. We are going to get into the Revs match, which oh, I think there's a lot of different opinions going on. Even though it's a win, I think there might be some differing opinions on certain players. Um, and then we're going to talk about playoffs that are coming up. I think most teams are at 7 games left, RSL included. So we need to start talking about how this is going to be broken down, what's going to happen, what we think is going to happen. In fact, we might just actually throw out some playoff predictions. Why not?
Why
So,
not?
Why not? Why not?
let's just dive into it. Let's Marcos, give us some questions. We're actually going to start off with two questions.
Yeah, so first question of the that we're gonna start off with is by Squid Guys. He asks, you can bring back any RSL player in their prime. Who would you bring back?
Hmm.
That's a loaded question.
It is
Very.
because you have tons to choose from. You have Ramondo, Beckerman, Eddie Pope, Javier Morales, Saborio. So
Like now, I should we kind of like rephrase this question to say which player would we bring back in their prime to play on this team right
yeah,
now?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
So, I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head unless Christian, do you have one?
No. I mean, I could almost do one per position.
Yeah, like I
Um,
could do.
like I
So,
mean,
you're
goalkeeper in prime, obviously Nick Raimondo. Defender Olave. I mean,
Olave.
remember when he took down Wayne Rooney?
Like,
Like it was nothing.
Yes, but I mean Nat Borchers a
no.
little more conservative, but still
I like the aggressiveness of Olave a bit more.
I
Borchers
would
was
rather have that.
fantastic.
I would rather have that dog mentality.
For because I know somebody else will say Beckerman, I'm gonna throw in a player that I thought was phenomenal for ours who never gets enough credit for midfield. Ned Grabavoy.
Hmm.
all right.
I did
I
not
was
think
a
of that one. I
I
didn't
was
think of that
a
one at all.
I was a Ned Grabavoy fan when he played for us. I
Interesting.
he was an unsung hero on the pitch. He
Interesting. Yeah.
controlled the midfield. He allowed for Javi and the rest of the crew to do their thing. He was a
Interesting.
menace when he was on the field. We
He
missed
was.
Interesting.
him a lot when he left.
Yeah, we lost a lot of consistency. That's for
We
sure.
lost a ton of consistency, and that's an underrated value, I think, in a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I might just go with the obvious. If we were to choose one, only one player from RSL history, I would choose Javi. Um, I mean, it almost seems a
Yeah,
little too obvious.
It's like we're brothers or something. It's like we can read each other's minds. So
Shut up.
no,
um,
I've been thinking about this question all day, and obviously I was picking Javi because we saw how good he was when he was in his prime when he was here. There's a reason his name is still up with Jason Christ in the stadium, because but yeah, he was literally the master of the midfield, controlled everything. But if not Javi, then I would have to go because our defense has been struggling this season. Then I'm gonna have to go with Olave as well.
interesting. I mean, sure. I'm totally down. I would love to have an Olave Vera
Oh,
center backs
But like, yeah,
pairing.
yes, I would love to see like a Saborio in his prime come back too, because he was just so good up top.
I mean, he's
But
a record holder
he is.
still.
Mhm.
But let me throw out this hot take real quick. I don't think that our best historical lineup would do as well as the team that we have today.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I I think the league has gotten a lot better from when we dominated it back in this makes me feel old by saying this, the early 2010s. Um,
Back 15 years ago.
But listen to this. Listen to this. Have you guys watched like a couple of highlights from a couple of games from back then, like literally 11, 12, 13 years ago? Have you looked at the highlights?
The the
We
the playing style is so much different from back in the 2009
but
MLS
but
Cup.
but what I get from it is RSL dominated because they
Mhm.
I think the core group that we had was a little bit more advanced. I think they were very influenced by Pep, that Barca team at that time. And so
hmm.
Jason I think grabbed hold of that tiki taka
Yeah.
and we dominated. Even though we lost our games. I mean, it's not like we can't be perfect. Barca wasn't perfect,
Mm-mm.
but you could see the level of play was elevated compared to the rest of the league.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now the league is definitely pretty even across the board, with exception of a couple of crap teams.
Yeah, definitely. Like we've seen over the past couple of years, we've seen somebody kind of replicate in a sense of what Javi's done. Like we have had Savarino and other players, but nothing the same. Nothing the same has been ever.
Hobby's the goat. Period.
Gotta
Facts.
say, MLS. I've said this before. I will say it again. I stand by this opinion. Top 10 league, probably at number 10 in the world.
Hmm. We might have to. That might be an off-season discussion for sure. I think I have some opinions, a lot of them. So we'll
Some.
save that. Save that. I'm gonna fight you for it.
Ooh. Those are fighting words. So,
Plot twist. He thinks it's top 5.
ooh.
Give us our next
So,
one.
question number 2 comes from Jeff.Taylor.7545. He asks, if we struggle the rest of the season because of new guys or chemistry, was it still a good season?
This is almost like an extension of the conversation that we had last week. Was it?
Hmm.
If we make a Concacaf Champions Cup but not
Mm.
win MLS Cup, is it still a successful season? I'll just start off and say if we struggle the rest of the season because of new guys or chemistry, just based off of those, was it still a good season? Um, I'll use the word good. It was a good season. It wasn't. If we struggle the rest of the season, it would be disappointing because of the goals that we put. But I can't say
Hmm.
it was a bad season.
Yeah.
Finishing top five, six isn't bad um, overall, but it's bad in the sense that we didn't make our goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we were having 5 new players come in, mesh, mold together right away. You have one player in Dominic who has to go with the Polish U21 team. Literally just came for 2 practices. Now he has to go away. So yes, I'm not going to be surprised if this team struggles. That's what's going to happen with getting 5 new guys. Am I going to find it, call it a good season? Yeah, it's going to be meh, not great. So
I
I,
don't know.
I, I'd call it a mediocre season.
yeah,
I mean, but can we? I think obviously this is like
Me,
a vacuum experiment kind of thing. Like if we struggle, I don't think we're gonna struggle. It's imp-
no.
I mean, the way we played this last game, it it's impossible to say we're gonna have we're gonna be struggling the rest of the season,
I
and
mean,
I think
talking about a pep tiki taka.
right?
yeah, and I guess going into this Revs game, it just shows you how deep our team truly is because we had obviously no Chicho, no Vera, and we've seen how good Vera and Glad have been together in that back line. When the starting 11 came out and we saw Glad and Quinton, I was like, oh no, oh no. We've seen them pair together. We've seen how well Quinton has been on the outside back. We're like, okay, that's Quinton's normal spot. But seeing him as a center back with Glad, I just felt very uneasy.
Well, yeah, let's dive into this. So that obviously you just gave your thoughts on that line on our lineup. Christian did when the lineup came out. Obviously, we knew Chicho was not going to be available.
Mhm.
What surprises did you see, or did it anything surprise you? To be honest,
I mean, taking a look at the lineup, I wasn't too surprised, to be completely honest. I mean, I guess the only true surprise was Quinton, for me. It, I'm glad Lachlan Brook got the start. I think that was needed. Um, Quinton was a bit of a surprise for me.
even though Vera was on the questionable list.
Yeah, just considering the lineups we've been playing all season, that it was just interesting to me. Not completely out of the realm of possible. It wasn't a what the crap is Pablo doing? I was like, it was more of a huh, okay.
Like yeah,
Like,
if you look at the bench, we had Marcelo Silva who was back. He obviously he didn't come in. Maybe have Marcelo start with Glad, but obviously Marcelo is getting up there in age. Something that I would have liked to see personally is maybe throw um Javane in center back role with Justin Glad. Yes, I know that they both play that same side of the center back, so that's the only thing that would be kind of tricky for them.
I think that was the tricky part about this whole thing. I think Quentin plays either side of the center back, whereas
Yeah.
you have Glad, Javane, and Bodie um, all play on the right side. So it's like crap. You can't just throw one of them on the left side and just hope cross your fingers that they do well. So yeah, I can see Quentin being the surprise, but thank heavens he was available
But
because
the one thing that I was really happy to see in this starting 11 that was back was Diego Luna. And we saw
Mhm.
how much of a needed force that he helped out a ton on that left side. And we missed him a lot in that San Jose match.
yeah. So here's my my thoughts because well everyone doesn't know I was gone at a concert, so I didn't watch the full game, but I watched the first half.
Boo.
Hey, it was a really good concert. I'll have to let you know about it later. Um, so the first half, the one that I watched, absolutely blew my mind in the sense that it was like literally night and day compared to the last game. We ended that first half, I think, with 12 shots,
Yep.
four of them on goal or something like that. It was a lot. It was a high octane attack where it was just boom, boom, boom. Um, and I guess the one player that stood out for me immensely that surprised me was Lachlan. I think he held his own on that right side
Uh-huh.
tremendously.
What a workhorse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
And,
was
was
and
tell
whoa,
I was
that
telling
was
Marcos during the game because he was the cheapest acquisition,
uh-huh.
and I think he realizes that he has a lot to prove. and he's not afraid to fight and prove it. And he knows that um, ultimately he's probably going to be competing with Dominic for that starting spot on the right hand side.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he knows that just based off of numbers, off of pedigree, off of marketability, that Dominic has the advantage in that area. And so he took advantage of a situation. He's like, this is time for me to make my statement,
Mhm.
and made it.
This is going to be really good. The competition on that right side. Um, I mean, yes, both of them are young. Both of them are very talented. But the fact that, just like going back what Marco said about the depth, that that position now finally has depth. We didn't have anyone good to back up Gomez before he left. It was. I mean,
Mhm.
we saw it in the San Jose game. It was Chang.
Yeah. Whereas you look at the left side it doesn't really have depth compared to that right side.
Currently, no, but I guess technically yes, because if Luna needs to be subbed out, who went in for it was
It was Chang, but Chang normally plays on that right side.
right, but I think for me on a normal day it would be Matt Crooks coming in for Luna and moving Diogo out to that left side. That's the kind of
Mhm.
depth that we have where you can keep Crooks in the middle and move Diogo outside. So it's a it's an exchange, Diego for Diogo. But
Ew.
No, no, but I was definitely very impressed with Lachlan, workhorse that we much needed with losing Andres. And I was kind of disappointed that he didn't have that goal in that first half. He had a wide open shot, and I'm just like, no, Lachlan, finish that. But he's not afraid to take chances whatsoever.
in fact, I think there were a couple of players that took a lot of shots. Like Ojeda took a couple of shots. It was like,
Yeah.
Ojeda had a goal, but called back.
right,
I mean, clear offside.
Yeah.
The player that actually surprised me with his selflessness when he could have been a little bit more selfish was Diogo Concalves. So there were a few times we were sitting up there like, all right, Diogo, shoot. And he passed it out. It's
Yep.
but I like that attitude. I
yeah.
love that attitude.
Yeah, and his passes. I remember one of them specifically, only because it was on the team highlights and whatever, the hype video where he crossed it. It was going towards the back post, maybe a little off, and Julio comes in sliding, barely misses it. But
Oh,
those are the kind of balls that we need going across the box.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but that's the kind of 10 that we've been needing for the past while. Matt Crooks brings a different kind of attacking midfielder presence, but Diogo is attacking mid, and I think now it feels like we're attacking with four instead of with three.
Most
and
definitely. Most definitely.
can I just say the difference in pace that Matt Crooks did bring onto the field when he was subbed on was good because that kept New England on their toes because his style of play is different and they had to adjust for it and they couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah. You saw Carlos
Credit to
Gil.
him.
He was
Oh,
frustrated the whole
he
match.
was so mad.
Nothing was going his way, and I was just like, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. But can we just talk about Anderson Julio, 48th minute, and just being able to read that back pass from the defender?
Mm.
Nobody's gonna stop Anderson Julio's speed, and and the keeper for New England, just nothing he could do about that.
yeah, that was a. I mean, great for Julio. I mean, we always know he's on his toes trying to
Hmm.
intercept, but finally he connected. I mean, when was the last time scored or Anderson Julio scored? It was like 2 months ago. In fact,
It's been a minute.
I threw it out as a stat a couple. Oh, last week.
No,
Hmm.
June 19th was his
Yeah,
last time he.
exactly. June 19th. So yes, and I brought it up last week because Bobby Wood had scored 3 goals in 2 games or something like that, and I
Mhm.
thought that he was going to be dangerous. And I compared it to Anderson Julio, who we knew was going to play, and Anderson Julio obviously hadn't scored since June 19th, and so that that kind of throws it into perspective. Where I was like, flip, we might be playing against someone who might have caught fire right now.
Well, in talking about Bobby Wood, I said this to Marcos a few times during the game. His matchup with Justin Glad was one of my favorites of the night to watch because Justin Glad played against Bobby Wood perfectly the entire night and frustrated him so that he couldn't continue that hot streak that he was on. And he was also getting frustrated as well. And
Um,
so
do
much
you
credit
think
to Justin Glad on that.
because they used to be teammates that might have had an advantage to
That
Glad?
that
Possibly,
definitely
yeah.
did help, yeah.
And looking at who all got subbed out for the Revs, it looks like Carlos he
He played the whole
runs
game.
well he runs the show because you could see
Hmm.
at halftime Bobby Wood and Kay came out right at halftime and they play around him. And then
Hmm.
the next two subs, Boateng and really hard to pronounce the name on the right wing. um
Barak Karaterovic.
sure. Um also got subbed out even before the 60th minute. So with first 15 minutes of that half, you have four subs all around Carlos Gil and they still couldn't do anything.
Hmm.
Um, we need to talk a little bit about Quentin's goal.
You mean the draft? Like I did not have that on my bingo card at all on Saturday.
No one did.
Dude,
That's
kudos to Quentin. He took a
But
fantastic shot.
oh, can we just talk about the assist from Ojeda
Oh,
first of all? That backheel assist, like
shut up. That was mm.
I was like Ojeda, don't do him dirty like that.
oh, do it dirty. Dirty.
We
Like
like it. We like it dirty.
And you could definitely tell that Quentin has not scored a lot of goals because he didn't know how to celebrate. He's like, what
No,
do I
that
do
was
with
his
my
first.
hands?
That's his first MLS goal
No,
ever.
he scored
mm-mm.
with He scored one with Columbus.
But he played like twice with Columbus.
Yeah, that's his second goal ever. One with Columbus and now one with RSL.
I don't know. I don't want to believe you.
But still, like he didn't know what to do. But honestly, Ojeda's assist was perfect. But honestly, the ability to turn and shoot like he did and get that bounce was so important going in.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you guys, we now have three center backs who can score.
Oh yeah, three. Yeah, you're right. This season too.
Glad doesn't have a goal this season.
Oh, sorry, I was counting own goals. Oops. Um. Well, dang. This game. This was definitely needed. Obviously coming off of a loss to the worst team in the league, and New England isn't a good team either. But it's nice to get a 2-0 win.
But I want to know, like, what is obviously it's a different team, different thing. We from the San Jose game, we had one new player in Diogo that was starting. In this New England game, we have Brown in his first game for the start. We have Lachlan first game starting. We have Luna who's back. So a lot of different pieces. We have Quentin
Beavers.
starting, Beavers starting, Quentin starting. So what was totally different in this one in getting a shutout win?
Oh, that's a good question. That sounds like a Pablo question.
Write it down. Write it down.
Ask him next
Um,
time.
Because honestly, for me, it just seems like it was the mentality because it's things that they learned that they improved on because they they were busy and they did not take their foot off the gas.
well, last week I talked about how unfortunately it kind of seemed like Andres Gomez was playing for himself a lot, and I
Yeah,
think removing that out of the equation, I hate to say that, I think that helped a bit because now you have, three or yeah, you have three new players on the field who are looking to prove themselves within the team. And so they are going to do whatever they can to help the team succeed.
Yeah, um, I totally agree because even though Chicho is our leader, there are times when he goes into for all you old RSL fans, he goes into a Spindola mode and
Mm.
just starts walking and
nobody
complaining.
wants that. Nobody wants that.
I mean, I get it because he is our striker. He
Hmm.
give him the ball and he will do something for you every single time. Um, but I think what we have right now, at least this past game showed us that we can have different players, different combinations of players on the field, and we can still get success. It's just making sure that the team is the star and not individuals. So, I did have two. It was one question, but for two different players. There were slight complaints. And I know Facebook is probably the biggest place to have people complain. Sorry for all you Facebook people. Y'all complain a lot. Um, People were saying that Diogo didn't have a good game and that Javane Brown was all right. Bot Mob has Javane having an all right game. He's the lowest ranked out of everyone. Diogo is average amongst everyone, but obviously you guys were at the game, saw the game. Give me your guys' opinions on those opinions that people have been saying.
Well, for Javane Brown, like talking about matchups, the matchup that I really liked was Javane Brown on Boateng. You saw right before halftime, just Javane Brown just block that shot from Boateng, and I'm like, man, this guy is fast. He hustles. He's a dog. Like you can tell that this guy has been starting game in, game out for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And sorry, Bodie, like Bodie has lost his job because Javane is going to be a good starter with Catarani.
Hopefully, Bodie learns some lessons.
Oh yeah, like
Oh
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know, Christian. What do you have
I
to say?
I agree with Marcos. I hard disagree with the Facebook crowd. Uh,
Yeah.
Javane Brown had one job against New England Revolution. That was to shut down Boateng, and he did it well. He did
Oh
it
yeah.
very, very well. I mean, there were a couple moments where he kind of slipped past him, but it wasn't anything egregious, and he rectified any mistakes quickly. I kind of agree with Diogo, but again, it comes to what I said earlier. He was very selfless, but to the point where there could have been moments where he should have been more selfish. And
Mm.
so I think he could just pull back the selflessness just a tid, just a smidge, not too much, but just a smidge enough to know that okay, it's okay for him to shoot.
Okay.
Now,
And
do you guys feel like that? Do you feel like that's gonna be different once Chicho's back, and then they'll be able to play better together, or do you think it's just gonna take time?
both. It's gonna take a little bit of time. They need to they 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 need the heat of battle to really figure out how they're gonna work. You can practice something all you want, but
Yeah.
when you're practicing, your practice games are against the second squad. The
Hmm.
second squad are second for a reason. They're
Yeah.
it's not like going up against Houston and
Yeah.
actually putting things to the test. I
Hmm.
think if Chicho and Diogo, I mean, Diogo seems like he can put his ego away. So if Chicho can also shelve his ego, except for, those Jamie Tart moments. And if you haven't watched Ted Lasso yet,
Shame on you.
shame on you, but it's moments where he gets a signal to, oh, okay, turn it on. If he can rein it back until he's got those moments to turn it on, he can work well with Diogo to get those moments, they're gonna
Yeah.
be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because
Definitely.
I was incredibly impressed with Diogo's playmaking, his vision on the field, his positioning was great. Again, I just wish there were a couple moments where he was a little bit more selfish and took shots because we could have easily won this game 3-4-0.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
that this game is gonna jump him in confidence to be able to do that. If all these other players were taking shots and getting into play, I think that might motivate him to do it a little bit more. So, um, this game was a good 3 points that we needed. Absolutely, I mean expected,
Much needed. Much needed.
much needed. So let's move into the next phase of this. We're gonna answer a couple more of these Instagram questions because you guys sent in a lot of good questions that I don't think we'll have enough time to even break down or give them the attention that
No.
they deserve. But we're gonna do our best. So Marcos, it's all you.
So I really like this one. This one's from Braxton Sproggs. He asked, "Do you think RSL will win championships, or are we now a development club or profit for profit?"
Oh. Um I think for me this was pretty easy. I think we're a development club. Um, just because if we wanted to be a championship level club, and if supposedly everyone in this league has the same kind of budget, whatever, which I mean, let's be real here. if if in theory everyone's supposed to have the same kind of budget, we would be getting better quality players. I think for example, if we wanted a good defensive back, we would have gone out and looked for Marcos Acuna, who just went back to River Plate.
Mm.
They got him for like 3 million. Yeah, and so when you look at those things, you're like, Blip, where are we looking? So that's why I think we're more of a development club for profit. I mean, going out and getting Lachlan for 300, and I bet you anything, if Lachlan has some success, we could probably flip him for 1 million or two and send him off to England. Um, I don't know about flipping Dominic. Dominic was pretty expensive. Um, but then again, Gomez was expensive too. Well, we got him for what, 2 or 3 million?
Something like
Something,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that from Colombia, and we flipped him for 11 to 13. So I think I personally think we're a development club.
I, if I were to compare us to a European club, I'd compare us a lot to Borussia Dortmund.
Why did I think I knew you were going to say that? I knew
Oh,
it
because Borussia Dortmund is the development club of Europe
for Bayern Munich. You mean?
for everybody. I mean, but think about it. But they're a development club, but they are also highly competitive within the Bundesliga, which is a great league.
Right?
That is a for sure a top three league.
Yeah.
And they almost won they almost won the Champions League this past year. They have won titles, and I expect in the future they will win more titles. So RSL's kind of the same. We're, as much as we would like to be title contenders every year, we're not gonna be, but we're always gonna be up there, and we're always gonna be in the mix. It's like, okay, they are not just a playoff team; they're a top five playoff team almost every year, and they're someone to look out for. Like you said, European clubs are going to look at the players that come out of RSL, especially if, we need to watch Andres Gomez, see how he does in France.
Right.
If he succeeds in France, that makes RSL look very, very good. And that makes it easier for, like, hey, a Manchester City to say, hey, oh, look, there's this guy named Lachlan Brook playing for Real Salt Lake. Oh, he's young. He's doing well. We could bring him over here
Right.
and
Right,
Yeah.
and the fact that Gomez went to France too opens up another country that we didn't have on our list.
Mhm.
I
That's
didn't
true.
I didn't think France was gonna ever look at us, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I definitely it pains me to say that. Obviously, I want to get trophies. I want to win championships, but just like other teams in the MLS, where I feel like everybody's kind of the same level of being a development club because in order to be the best, you gotta, I guess, train and get your players to be on that level.
That's a hot take.
That is a very hot take. I disagree with that.
You know,
We've got the best academy in MLS, and that's not even a question.
because I feel like way back there's other MLS teams, maybe like Seattle. They were kind of a, I guess, development.
Philly,
Philly,
New York, the Red
New
Bulls,
York. So
But they,
Dallas.
but think about Red Bulls or NYCFC. They're connected to other clubs at a bigger level that we
City,
weren't
yeah,
before.
yeah,
Was City and Leipzig. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
RSL's connection to Crystal Palace is so new; it's not even existent.
yeah,
Crystal Palace.
yeah. With having one of the I guess being biased, I guess one of the better academies in the MLS, it definitely helps out a ton.
Oh, we're the best academy in
We're the
MLS,
best.
and no, we are like many. A lot of clubs have come over and been like, "This is the best academy we've seen in the country." We've seen
Look,
many.
top five for sure. Because Dallas is good, Philly
Dallas is
is
good.
good. The New York
Miami
ones
is
are good.
good.
Miami is now good because of we
We're
all
the
know why.
best in the West, and that's not even a question. The
Yeah,
East is
yeah,
the closest clubs to Europe physically are the only ones that can give us any competition.
I agree.
that's true.
I I totally agree.
Facts, Facts.
Give us another one.
You want playoff predictions or not
No,
yet?
no, no, no. Keep the
Another
other ones going.
question.
Okay, dokie, okie dokie. So this person they ask, the Josue Des, he says, who should be the next manager after Pablo, realistically and wishfully?
Well, I haven't made my wish list yet,
Well, yeah,
but
That's a
Christmas
great
Christmas is a
but
question.
little ways out.
yes, but this is my my list of what I don't want them to be.
Hmm.
I'm tired of ex players. That's
Yeah.
that's just a personal thing. I'm tired of ex players. There are some that are good. There are some that are horrible. Um, in fact, personally, I didn't like Kassar. I didn't like Petke. Those are former players. But if you look at what's his bald head face? What's his name? Who's before Pablo? Because that's how important he is to me. Ah, you guys can't remember either.
Oh,
Before.
went to Seattle, the trader.
Oh, you're talking about Freddie Juarez.
Freddie, there we go, Freddie. Freddie, from what I remember, he's not a former MLS player. He did play, but he was a horrible manager.
Uh-huh.
Horrible, hence why he went back to being an assistant. Um, so Arsenal hasn't had
So
too much
where would
success.
I was gonna say, where would you put Jason Christ there for you? Would you say that he was just mediocre? Or...
No, no, Jason was a good coach, and I think he was a better coach than he was a player. Hot take. Um,
That's no, that's actually true.
and so I think players like Jason, I'm fine with becoming
Mm.
coaches. Obviously, you saw it in results. He went to two MLS Cups in 5 years,
Hmm.
and even got to a CONCACAF Champions final. Um, I mean, we played really well under Jason. Um, Pablo, I I struggle with only because I hear what he's saying. I understand what he wants to implement, but I think there's not as much structure as is needed. He's very open, very almost too flexible with how he runs things, and I don't like that. But that's who I would expect out of our next managers, not a former player, and hopefully someone that's a little bit more international.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Obviously, like when it comes to U.S. men's national team, I wanted somebody international. That checked off the box. Now, when it comes to RSL, I hope for the same thing, just so we're not just keeping with the same thing with American coaches who played in the MLS, all that stuff. I want just somebody who's cultured, who can bring in outside sources, who can help out. Wishfully, um, I don't know, Pep. Like, why not? Sky's the limit. Why not?
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
that.
wish list, sure.
Why
Yeah,
not?
that's why not.
You know, it could be more realistic though. Guy Shattertha.
Nope, he just signed with River.
I know
But I mean he was available. I mean
he
he
was
left Saudi
available.
Arabia and
Most
bled.
Wasn't
people
there
are.
wasn't there rumors of him going to Charlotte?
No, there was zero rumors of him in the MLS.
Hmm.
He played here. He played his 6 months here, and he's like, yeah, I hate this. So I mean, I know we're an RSL pod, but smart man, smart man. I mean, we see the success he has now. So
Honestly, right now, just off of current league results, I know Europe is very, very fresh into their season, but Hansi Flick,
I still need to see more. You're right; they are pretty fresh, but I still need to see more from him
I
at
think
Barca.
that would be that would be a fun coach.
I
I,
could
I've
see
been
that.
I've been very impressed with him so far. Solid coach.
I can
Also,
see it.
Emma Hayes, the women's national team coach for the U.S. right now, she's fantastic.
It was about time that the women start having a like constant success. Shoot, they've been kind of with the coaches bleh lately.
Yeah, which is funny because even bleh, they've still been pretty freaking good.
I mean,
uh,
not hot take. The U.S. will always dominate.
Oh yeah, easy,
yeah.
easy pickings.
Next question.
Ooh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is gonna get into some juicy stuff. You ready for this,
Oh,
Joe?
we're already doing it now.
You ready for this one? Joe Marzin. Everybody loves Joe Marzin. He says,
Yay.
With 7 games left in the regular season, do you start Gavin Beavers to finish it out?
Well,
That question's already been answered for us today.
it has, but for those that don't know,
Pablo was on ESPN 700 and he made the announcement to Spence and saying Gavin has and will be the starter for the rest of the season.
Congrats to
man,
Gavin.
congrats to
Well,
Gavin.
well deserved. Well deserved.
But let's talk a little bit about that because that's a bit picante if you ask me.
It,
Um,
a bold move still because I mean Gavin's young,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
still developing. There's still a lot that we could gain from having Zach McMath on the field, depending on the game.
yes, but I mean that's you got to have. I mean, you just said it. You got to have some balls to tell Zach, look, we need to bench you. Like, how do you tell that to a 30, what is he, 33-year-old keeper
Yep.
who has proven himself with I think he has like a decade in the league, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a rough conversation to have.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Pablo said on ESPN today that it was mostly based upon the last performance against New England. Obviously, we saw in that second half Gavin's huge swat that he had right outside the top of the box, and not just that, but just his at being 19, just being able to control his back line has been very impressive thus far.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why Pablo was able to have that conversation with Zach is because he had Zach when he was with Colorado too. So they have a relationship.
Yeah,
Um, and and so that's I think because if we didn't have Pablo in this situation, if we had another coach, I think we would still be having McMath as our starter, to be honest. But I think as of lately, we've come to understand that Jason's vision is to develop youth, which Pablo has adopted, which um, this then allows Beavers to play a lot more.
I was
Beavers
gonna.
is a U19 national team starting
Yeah,
keeper.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to say, with now Beavers being the starting goalkeeper the rest of the season, this probably makes it so Kurt and Jason are out there frantically looking for Beavers replacement in this offseason.
Well, and why? I mean, we got to tell people why. Because McMath is out of a contract in
Yeah,
December. His
yeah,
contract ends.
because most likely,
We could be in a
uh,
keeper problem this
yeah,
offseason.
RSL is probably not going to re-sign him. Beavers might possibly be gone this offseason if he keeps up what he's been doing, because at 19 years old, 3 shutouts this season, that's pretty impressive.
How many shutouts does Zach have?
I will
Now,
tell you.
now everyone's frantically searching for that stat right now.
What? What are you talking about?
4 clean sheets. There we are.
Yeah, yeah. So one behind McMath. That's saying something.
I mean, let's see. Beaver stats. We're gonna now compare just slightly. Oh, I clicked on the wrong person. There we go.
8 matches, 3 clean sheets.
11 goals conceded to McMath's
25.
25,
Does he have any
which
saved penalties for the season?
zero save penalties, and Gavin has one.
Yeah, yeah.
That that was the deciding factor, guys. How many PKs have you saved? 1, 0. Cool, you're on the bench. That's how the conversation went. um, but I'm actually I'm I'm glad that Beavers is going to be starting now.
Hmm.
That gives us a little bit of I think spice in the back because we all know 18, 19-year-old kids when they get bumped around, they get hit, they all of a sudden get fired up. I think we're going to see that from Gavin, but in a mature way. I think he's going to be able to spice things up back there and be a real leader.
Oh yeah, and like you said, being 19, being the starting goalkeeper, that's going to give him that leadership, give him the not being afraid to open his mouth. And Pablo said also that he said that no, Gavin, I hope that being that starting goalkeeper, you learn communication, because that's what you need with your back line, to have that good communication skills, because you don't know what's going to happen ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to go get into one more question, but it's like a combination of like three different questions because it's all the same topic. So this will be our last one, then we're going to go into our last subject. Um, all these there's a bunch of questions talking about Gomez. So I'll summarize the question as this: does Gomez leaving ruin RSL's chances for playoff success, cup success, or future promising success?
No,
No, no, no.
Do you
Like,
do you,
yeah,
do you think we've gotten us enough replacements to replace what he produced?
absolutely, absolutely. We saw in this last game against New England how big of an influence Lachlan Brook was. Like, yes, he's not what we want, what we saw in Andres, but give it time. Give it time, and Lachlan and even Dominic. Dominic was only on for a short amount of time, but they're going to impress us come in these next couple of games.
yeah,
Silence is you agree then, Christian?
I agree.
That's a great way to agree. um, so so leading into this next point, there is a question asking about if Chicho will play against Houston. From what we know, Marcus is giving a thumbs up, but apparently he's going to be practicing as of when?
Tomorrow, so Thursday. Pablo said that Chicho will be back to his full practice. He got cleared by the medical staff to practice at full capacity tomorrow.
Perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Houston. So, but just so everyone knows, Chicho is going to be practicing now. Whether he starts or not, we don't have a crystal ball. But
Along with Vera. Vera is cleared as well. So
okay, cool. So now let's get into this. It's going to be a mix topic of playoff predictions, but with what's going on in the league right now. So this weekend is part two of Houston versus LAFC. I personally think this is really important for us. One,
hmm
because it's
Mhm.
Houston and we hate the Houston Dynamo. We don't hate
hmm
Houston, the city, right? Right, Christian?
Yes, it's a
Okay,
great city.
great city. We hate the Dynamo, and so this has us worried only because of this. The Dynamo are coming off of beating LAFC in LA.
hmm
That's no bueno for us, I think.
Mhm.
Houston, they are 7 points behind us, but with a game in hand.
hmm
Hence why they're playing this weekend. LAFC is tied with us in points, but they're 2 games in hand. So, thinking of playoffs, what do you think is the best result for us this weekend with those two teams? And in fact, with all the games with Western Conference
Well,
opponents.
I was gonna say because we have Houston, LA, and then we also have El Tráfico happening again soon too.
Yeah, the following next weekend.
I think a pair of ties would help us. That would be best.
I do agree. I do agree, because with those 2 games in hand that LAFC has, and then with a perfect win against Houston, that would just that would jump us. So hopefully.
Now another game that also we have to keep an eye on is Vancouver playing against
hmm
Dallas. We don't have to
Yep.
keep track of Dallas, but we have to keep track of Vancouver, who are also 2 games in hand and 6 points behind us. So that means technically, if they win those 2 games that they have in hand, they're tied with us.
Yep. Correct.
Um, so we're looking at a pretty intense situation right now, in terms of playoff positioning. Back at the beginning of the season, Marcus, do you remember what your playoff or what your last standings was for RSL? I'm
I
trying
want
to.
to say I think I said fourth or fifth.
I think you said fourth or fifth, and I said third. So, um, looking at our situation now, let's 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 just do Western Conference because that's all we care about right now. Where do you see the table falling with what you know about the remaining schedule for most of the teams?
I see RSL honestly staying at third place. I see, yeah, I see first, second, and third staying the exact same, and then everybody else in the bottom right below us maybe switching a few places.
What do you see, Christian?
It's tight. It's so incredibly tight. And
Mhm.
the thing about the West being this tight compared to, I mean, not even the East is this close.
Yeah, no. In
It
fact, East is
No,
like between fifth and first. There's 20 points.
yeah, East is never close. East is never close at ever.
the margin for error is so slim here.
Yeah,
We could easily end in third place. We could also easily end in fifth or sixth.
Yeah, that's and
Or
that's what
or
scares me.
by a stroke of good luck, we could even win the West.
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
That's
definitely.
that is how thin the margin of error is. Um, so keeping in line, I could still see us solidly ending in third or fourth, hopefully higher.
Yeah.
Now, combining that with what we need for CONCACAF Champions Cup. We talked about it last week, but after now 2 weeks of results, and where we only got three out of six that we expected, um, our only way, there's multiple ways to qualify, but I think personally, this is me. I still want the Galaxy to win MLS Cup. They need to win MLS Cup. If we don't win it, Galaxy have to win it for our sake. I
Mm.
know. I mean,
Okay, no, that makes sense.
because me and Marcos had this discussion. He got a little confused, but supporter shield winner gets a slot, and
Hmm.
then the opposite conference first place team gets a slot, and then the next two top points on the supporter shield table.
Hmm.
So that means if if Miami wins Supporter Shield, that means the first in the West gets also a spot, which would be the Galaxy currently. If the
Hmm.
Galaxy win MLS Cup, that means who's next on that list that haven't qualified already? That's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then looking at that list of who's already qualified. So if Miami haven't qualified, Galaxy haven't qualified, Cincy hasn't qualified, have Columbus
Yep.
qualified?
Columbus, LAFC already qualified. You have
Rap.
Colorado that have already crap has already qualified. So
We're cheering for Vancouver as well because Vancouver can qualify for through
it,
Canada, the Canadian Cup.
against Toronto, that's correct. Yeah, like we've already said, RSL controls their own destiny to get back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, where they got to just stay focused, stay in tune these next 7 games. It really does suck big time that RSL is off this week because like it would be so ideal coming off a win to get play again this weekend, just to keep that momentum, go back on winning ways. But no, you got to watch Houston play again against LAFC, where they just played against LAFC, so they're going to have that confidence going into another big time game.
Can I get you guys' opinion on this real quick? Because we do we're not the only ones, but there have been many people saying that, oh, we do horrible after a long break. But when you look at it this season, anytime we've had a break over 7 days, um, we've only lost once. We've won one, tied one, and lost one. So we haven't done horrible. Do you guys think we do horrible after long breaks?
I
And
honestly not long breaks. I think it's the mid-sized breaks that do us the worst.
so like 7, 10 days, that's
10 days,
mid-size.
yeah.
Yeah, like we saw the 19 days, how bad that was when we came back against San Jose. So like a short one, like 7-10 days, we can never really bounce back from something like that.
Because the breaks that we've had were back in June. We played against Montreal after a Saturday bye, and we tied 0-0 to Montreal. I don't think that was good. We had a 10-day break with between LA Galaxy loss and our game against Houston for the 4th of July. And then we had Leagues Cup break. We played Atlas, we won.
Hmm.
So we haven't done like horrible, but it almost
No.
seems like these long breaks kind of. do us weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's been on my mind. That I don't know if this long break is going to do us bad or not.
Well, and the games this weekend are just makeup games from those teams that were already in tournaments. Some of these teams were already in CONCACAF Champions Cup at the beginning of the season, some in Leagues Cup. So that's why they're having to play randomly during international window.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Speaking of international window, and we'll probably just get final thoughts on this since there's no game this weekend to even do a prediction time. So we're gonna do last minute thoughts, but for the international window, what's your guys' game that you're gonna watch or focus on, or region that you're looking at, and we might finish this off.
Not MLS or
I mean, MLS isn't international, so yeah.
uh well, besides Argentina, because obviously I'll be watching the Argentina Chile game tomorrow. But yeah, I want to focus on U.S. Canada. I want to see how Pochettino is going to do in his first game.
Is he gonna coach?
I
I
don't
thought
think
that.
he. I don't
I
think he'll
think
be ready by then.
Yeah, I
No,
think
not ready.
interim is going to be
Mhm.
coaching.
Okay, well, I'm excited to see how they do against Canada because we saw how good Canada was in Copa America.
That's true. That's true. Christian, what's your game that you're going to be watching this weekend for international break?
I, same as Marcos. I want to. I love the U.S. I think it's a privilege to be able to be both a U.S. fan and an Argentina fan, and so I'll be watching both teams pretty carefully.
Okay, sounds good. Um, I might be a little biased. I might just be focused on a little bit more on CONMEBOL, only because they actually have to qualify for the for the World Cup instead of CONCACAF. Um, so I'm not sure if this weekend will do the U.S. any good moving forward, like solidifying players or
No,
developing play. But
no.
I don't know. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be watching South American ball.
Nice, nice, nice.
All right. Any other last thoughts?
Everybody sit back, relax, and just enjoy your this weekend with no RSL playing.
I don't know if we can really relax with no RSL. In fact, I get pretty anxious when there's no RSL.
And
But
just enjoy all the soccer around, from MLS to international ball. We got tons to watch.
Yeah, I'm glad there's still ball going. So,
hey, I got U9 soccer this weekend.
woo.
There you go. You got that to watch.
You're coming too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely, definitely.
Send us off.
If you guys are not already, head over to Instagram, head over to Twitter or X, and follow us at the RSL Bros, and listen to us wherever you catch your podcasts on Spotify and Apple.
You're like, oh crap, I forgot it.
Perfect.
Peace out,
We will catch you guys
everyone.
next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao.